12 people died. Not because of the wind, but because the government cared more about its reputation than your safety.
It's a really chilling thought. But when you look at the documents, when you actually read the reports we have in front of us, it's pretty hard to draw any other conclusion.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're not just talking about a fire. We're talking about a scandal. We're looking at what happens when leadership fails and then tries to take a Sharpie to the history books. We're digging into the Palisades Fire cover-up.
And just to set the scene for everyone, because I know the news cycle just moves so fast, we really have to go back to January 7, 2025.
Right. The day Los Angeles burned.
It was a Tuesday. And it wasn't just a bad fire, it was a complete catastrophe. The Palisades Fire just exploded across LA. The stats, I mean, they're staggering.
Yeah, lay them out for us.
23,448 acres burned. 6,800 structures, homes, businesses, memories, gone. And most tragically, 12 people lost their lives.
And the official story at the time was, hey, it's the weather, it's Mother Nature. An avoidable tragedy.
That was the narrative, absolutely. They wanted you to believe it was an act of God, but we have a stack of sources here. LA Times investigations, leaked emails, even deleted text messages, and testimony that tells a very, very different story.
The huge twist here is that this wasn't just some random natural disaster. The evidence shows it all started from a known holdover fire that the city, well, they just ignored it.
Ignored is putting it lightly. They walked away from it.
And then the scandal. When it was time to write the after-action report, the one document that's supposed to tell us what went wrong so it doesn't happen again.
Right, the autopsy.
Exactly. A blockbuster investigation revealed that report was, and I'm quoting here, sanitized.
Refined was the word the mayor's office used, which is just such a polite way of saying they gutted the truth.
We are definitely going to get into that. The core accusation is that Mayor Karen Bass's office told the fire department to scrub the report. Why? To avoid lawsuits and bad press.
So today, our mission is pretty simple. We are stripping away that refined story. We're going to look at the raw facts and explore how one small, ignored spark became a historic tragedy because of bureaucratic incompetence, and how the government then tried to rewrite history.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. But actually, let's start 6 days before the disaster. Because this didn't just pop up on January 7th, did it?
No. And this is the part that just makes your blood boil. The fire that killed 12 people actually started on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2025. It was called the Lachman Fire.
A full week before the main event.
A full week. It was small, only about 8 acres. The fire department went out, they contained it, and, they probably patted themselves on the back. Job done.
Right. Put it out, go home.
But this is where you have to understand the science. We're talking about the Palisades. It's thick, old chaparral brush. And when that stuff burns, it's deceptive. You get what's called a holdover fire.
Okay, so unpack that for us.
Okay.
What is a holdover fire?
Imagine a campfire that looks like it's out. No flames, nothing. But underneath, in the dirt, the roots are still glowing red hot. Fire can travel underground through root systems for days.
So the surface looks safe, but the ground is basically a ticking time bomb.
Exactly. It just smolders and waits. And the standard operating procedure, the doctrine every single firefighter learns, is that if you have a holdover fire and wind is coming.
Which they did.
Oh, they definitely did. The doctrine says you never ever turn your back on it.
You have to babysit it.
You watch it continuously. You keep boots on the ground. You feel the dirt for heat. You look for that tiniest wisp of smoke.
So, did they?
No. The records show resources packed up and left the scene about 12 hours after they called it contained. They left it completely unmonitored.
These left. Knowing hurricane force winds were in the forecast.
They cleared the scene. And we have testimony here from Patrick Butler, a former assistant chief, 36 years of experience. He didn't mince words. He called what happened a predictable outcome.
Predictable.
Yeah.
That's a heavy word when people died.
It is. It implies negligence. He said this wasn't an accident. It was a decision to walk away from a known threat. So when those winds hit on January 7th, that unmonitored heat did exactly what everyone knew it would do. It found oxygen, and it exploded.
It's just a level of complacency that's hard to get your head around. It feels like bureaucratic laziness, like the paperwork says contained, so it's contained. But a fire doesn't read your paperwork.
Not at all.
Which brings us to the next failure, the doctrine of diminished response. Because, again, everyone knew this weather was coming.
The National Weather Service was practically screaming about it. They issued a red flag warning. They even used the phrase particularly dangerous situation, or PDS. That's rare. You don't see that often.
So if you're the LAFD and you see particularly dangerous situation,
Yep.
you call in the cavalry, right? You get every truck ready.
You'd think so. The standard protocol for a red flag day is to send a heavy response to any smoke report.
And what does heavy look like?
It looks like an army. It means 27 fire companies. Engines, trucks, chiefs. You hit it with everything you have so it can never get big.
27. Okay, that sounds like a plan.
That's the rule. But on January 7th, they didn't send the army. They sent a normal response.
Which is how many?
7.
Wait, 7 instead of 27.
Correct. 7 fire companies.
That's barely a quarter of the force.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why? Was it a budget thing?
Yeah.
Why would you send a skeleton crew to a particularly dangerous situation?
And that is the million-dollar question. The answer seems to be pure administrative paralysis. There's a policy called maximum commitment. It means when the big one hits, you stop answering routine 911 calls.
Like minor traffic accidents?
Exactly. Broken toes, cat in a tree, you put those on hold and you search everything to the disaster.
That makes perfect sense. If my neighborhood is on fire, I don't care about a fender bender across town.
But leadership never pulled the trigger. The claim was they had to manage routine citywide call volume.
So they were worried about routine calls while a historic firestorm was starting.
It looks that way. And there's a conservative critique here that this is what happens when you have administrators running public safety. They were more worried about balancing spreadsheets and overtime costs than saving lives.
They were managing the budget, not the emergency.
And that hesitation let the fire escape, because once a fire like that gets big in 90-mile-an-hour winds, it's over. You can't stop it. You have to kill it when it's small.
So we have an ignored fire and an underpowered response. Where was the leadership? Where was the mayor?
Well, that's where this gets even crazier. Mayor Karen Bass wasn't in Los Angeles. She was in Ghana.
Ghana, okay. But this was during that critical prep window, right?
It was. But it's not just that she was away. It's the text messages, the deleted text messages.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so it's 11:00 a.m. in LA. The fire is raging. It's almost 7 p.m. in Ghana. A staffer texts the mayor's group chat. 2 significant fires, potential evacuations.
That's the alarm bell. All hands on deck.
You'd think. You'd expect a response like, I'm on the next flight, or authorize maximum commitment. Instead, the mayor responds by talking about her logistics. She writes, I have phone access on the plane.
That's the response. It's like a "can you hear me now" commercial.
It seems like the priority was on PR, just establishing that she was available. Meanwhile, back in LA, her team formed a crisis management work group.
Okay, sounds official.
It does, until you read what their goal was. Internal emails show the goal wasn't putting out the fire. It was, and I'm quoting, to create our own narrative.
Create our own narrative
I laugh.
while the city's burning down.
Exactly. It's a complete failure of whole of government coordination. Leadership was absent, and the focus immediately shifted to political damage control, not fire control.
That's just infuriating. It feels like the priority was protecting the office, not the people.
And that priority, protecting the reputation of the government, is what leads us directly to the cover-up.
Right, because eventually the fire goes out, the smoke clears, and people start asking hard questions.
And that's when they write the after-action report, the AAR. This document is supposed to be the sacred, brutal truth. It's how you learn. It's how you prevent the next disaster.
But the truth here was inconvenient.
Very inconvenient. The Fire Commission president confirmed a draft of the report was sent to the mayor's office for refinements.
Refinements, such a gentle word.
It is. The allegation is that Mayor Bass told the interim chief that the unvarnished truth could expose the city to legal liability.
So if we admit we messed up, we'll get sued, so let's not admit we messed up.
That's the long and short of it. And the edits they made weren't just fixing typos, they changed reality.
Give us some examples.
Okay, first, they went through and changed the word failures to primary challenges.
Primary challenges. Wow. That is classic bureaucratic doublespeak. We didn't fail, we just had a challenge.
It takes all the blame off the table. They also deleted facts. They completely removed the fact that fire crews waited for 1 hour for assignments while the fire was raging.
They just deleted it. Wiped it from the record.
Gone. They deleted references to violating national safety guidelines. And remember, the 7 engines versus 27?
Skeleton crew. Yeah.
The original draft said those decisions did not align with policy. The final public version claimed they went above and beyond.
No, they flipped it completely. From we broke the rules to we were heroes.
Above and beyond, it is a total inversion of what happened.
That's not spin, that is propaganda.
And the author of the report, a battalion chief named Kenneth Cook, he's the whistleblower here, he refused to sign the final version. He called it highly unprofessional. He wouldn't put his name on a lie.
Good for him.
Yeah.
From a conservative perspective, this is exactly what people mean when they talk about the administrative state.
Yeah.
The government protecting itself at all costs. They messed up, people died, and the first instinct was to hide the evidence.
And when you do that, you guarantee it will happen again. You're sacrificing future safety to protect your career today.
So what was the fallout? Did anyone get held accountable?
Well, the denial machine kicked into high gear. The mayor's office called the allegations muckraking journalism.
Of course. Blame the messenger.
They claim they only checked the report for weather and budget accuracy.
That doesn't pass the smell test. You don't change failures to challenges to check the weather.
No, you don't. The new fire chief, Jamie Moore, is in a tough spot. He came in after this, and he's admitted the report was altered. He had to. The evidence was overwhelming.
He admitted it was changed.
He did. But then he pivoted and said, look, don't worry, 74% of the recommendations are done.
But wait, if the recommendations are based on a fake report...
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head. How can you trust the cure if the diagnosis was a lie? If you scrub the part about the 7 engines, then there's no recommendation to fix that problem.
And what about the people who lost everything?
It's the other tragedy. The same bureaucratic paralysis that failed them during the fire is failing them in the recovery. Rebuilding is just stalled in red tape and permits.
So, to wrap this all up, we have a holdover fire that was known and ignored.
A predictable outcome.
A response that was a fraction of what it should have been.
A doctrine of diminished response.
A mayor who was out of the country, focusing on PR.
Absent leadership.
And a final report that was sanitized to protect the powerful from lawsuits and bad press.
It just shows that bad policy and weak leadership are as deadly as the fire itself. The fire is nature, the response is a choice, and they chose to protect the bureaucracy, not the citizens.
It's a scary thought. You trust these institutions to be there on your worst day, but what we found out here is that their maximum commitment was to the narrative, not to you.
Which is why this kind of deep dive, this kind of oversight is so critical.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end, but before we go, I want to leave you with one last thing to think about.
Go for it.
We know they rewrote the history of the Palisades Fire. We have the proof, but only because a whistleblower came forward. If the government is willing to rewrite the history of a disaster that killed 12 people just to avoid a lawsuit, what else are they editing right now that you don't know about?
That's the question that keeps you up at night.
Thanks for listening. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and we'll see you on the next Deep Dive.
Goodbye.